That's probably the easiest way to get a job. What have you done in terms of networking and outreach?
So the extent of that, at least the most recent thing that I've done, last January I sent out a bunch of emails to my professors, because those are the people that I know the best that could immediately give me some advice, at least on portfolio and the things that steps I could take to ensuring that I could get a job or internship or something. Anything. I was pretty desperate, so I talked to my professors. I set up Zoom meetings, and that actually helped a lot, and it led to me getting some contract work. And I've gotten contract work in the past, even like pre-COVID, in the summertime, but that's pretty much the extent of what I've done. I've talked to my fellow classmates and teachers about LinkedIn and job boards, and they said it's pretty much just luck of the draw. Like, you have to get it within a few hours, otherwise it's not even worth applying, and that seems to be the case. So just like sending out my resume and portfolio to different places without like a positive direct recommendation or reference has been just for nothing pretty much. And so it's been rather discouraging for me to even apply on LinkedIn anymore. What's worked for me in the past is actually just talking to professors or people that I've known in the past, and do you need help on this project? Is there anything that I can do that my experience could be useful for you in some way? So that's been the extent of my outreach.
Okay, that's good. So basically you've been reaching out to your immediate network.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably the easiest way to get a job. So everybody watching, when you're looking for a job, by far the easiest way to get a job is to reach out to your immediate network, people that you know. People hire people they know, and that's not fair, because the people who you immediately know aren't necessarily the most qualified for the job. That's just how it is. So reach out to your immediate network. If you don't have a network, start building one, and we'll talk about how to do that in a little bit. When you have these conversations with them, like, what do you say? Like, how did you reach out to your professors via email at first?
The gist of it was that I was just asking for a portfolio review, the things that I could change that needed to be changed to be more, bring things up to date, and communicate things better so that I could have a better chance at nailing a job interview or even landing one. I asked for professional advice about, what do I do at this point? Because it felt rather hopeless. Last January and last December, and that was pretty much the extent of the email, and it was enough to set up a Zoom meeting with my teachers and faculty, and we talked things over and caught up over a few things, and that definitely led to a few opportunities that I'm actually working on right now.
So that's really good. That worked for you.
Yeah.
So there's a couple reasons why that probably worked. Number one, it showed a certain level of humility. It showed a willingness to learn. You were asking humbly for advice. You didn't ask for a job. That's really important. And basically you were top of mind. People tend to hire people, not only that they know, but also who is just like immediately in front of their faces.
Yeah.
Like, they're just going to go for the easiest option, or the most like the top of mind, basically. So by sort of emailing them and speaking with them, that's exactly what happened. You were top of mind. And that's why having a social media presence is really valuable. If you've sort of exhausted your immediate network, if you're posting stuff on Instagram or wherever, LinkedIn, wherever, it basically ensures that you're top of mind with your immediate network.
Yeah.
Or
absolutely.
maybe the secondary network that you know reasonably well.
Yeah, that's the exact same thing that one of my teachers, David Gonzalez, said. He said that it's always like in the back of your mind, like you remember that somebody asked you about something, and they're always going to be top of mind. Like, oh, I remember this person asked me for advice. Maybe he's free, or maybe they're free to work on this project for you. And that was definitely what happened with me. And I got an opportunity to work on a project with a fellow professor, and another opportunity that I'm going to be starting in summertime now.
So are there any people in your immediate network who can get you jobs in the types of places that you really want to work at? So we mentioned like model building.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think so, absolutely. One of my old CAD teachers, actually, SolidWorks instructor, David Curiel, I think I want to talk to him again about like what he did in his previous jobs, because he worked, I think he was in Florida working on...
You're on the hook for getting Christopher a job, David. You hear that? No, just kidding. No obligation. Continue.
No, it'd be really cool to just discuss like the things that he did, like working for Universal or for Disney. I don't know if he worked for Disney, but he talked to us briefly at the beginning of class about his past experience, like model making and prop building. I'm sure it was more extensive than just those two things, but that was something that, you know, the second I heard that, I knew I was going to really enjoy the class with him. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely talk to him more. Another thing that you can do, and you should reach out to your immediate network first, okay? Reach out to your immediate network first. That's your ticket, okay? Pretty much every big contract that I've gotten, well, not all of them, I'd say most of them, most of the big contracts that I've gotten have been through an immediate contact, like an immediate connection. I have gotten, you know, full-time work through recruiters, or, you know, I'll have people message me on LinkedIn sort of not randomly, but through a referral. That's pretty common, but number one way is through your immediate network. So let's just pretend you don't have an immediate network that is able to help you find a job at the places that you want to work. We're just pretending here.
Okay.
Have you tried reaching out to other people through other means who like work at places that you would like to work at?
I haven't yet. I've composed emails and just saved them as drafts, just because like for the thesis project, one of the companies that would be my dream job, sort of, would be working for Leatherman in Portland.
Wait, why sort of?
Well, because I'm just not sure if it's for me yet. I don't know for sure. I think I would pretty much...
The idea of it is
yeah.
a dream.
Yeah.
But you don't actually know because you haven't worked there. Is that what you're saying?
I think it's also location too. I'm pretty happy in California, but I don't know. I haven't lived in Oregon yet, so...
Right. Okay,
anyway.
So that's why.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to clarify that because maybe somebody from Leatherman is watching and they're like, well, I don't want to hire this kid. It's not his dream job, so that's why.
I know that they work with industrial designers to conceptualize their new products. Like the Free series was developed in a consultancy for over 5 years.
Oh wow!
Which is I think it's a pretty revolutionary product to come out of Leatherman and in the multi-tool industry. That's something like the process behind developing that design was really interesting to me. Short of just composing some emails, like I was ready to send an email to Leatherman, and this was before I'd started working on my thesis. And it was one of the reasons why I started working on the thesis project as a customizable multi-tool. I just never hit send because it wasn't ready, and I didn't feel like it was ready to reach out yet. So those are the only things that I've done. If I didn't have my connections, I think I would definitely reach out. I feel much more confident to even like put myself out there. Like before, even in junior year, I would not have felt like this.
Well, wait, are you sending emails to a specific person that works at the company?
No, I don't have a specific contact there.
So you're sending it to careers at Leatherman?
Yeah, or whatever wherever all the emails go. They said if you have a new idea or something that you would want to talk about getting a patent for or anything like that, you could send it to info or whatever. Okay.
So have you tried finding people who work at Leatherman who are connections of connections? Have you asked your immediate network if they know anybody who works at a company like that?
No, I haven't.
Okay, that's the next thing you need to do.
Okay.
And then you need to ask them if they'd be comfortable making an intro on your behalf.
Okay.
That will yield a much higher success rate. So once again, people are gonna hire people they know. So if it's a friend of a friend, that's better than just sort of emailing info@leatherman.com. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that can't work, but your chances are going to be way, way lower if you go that route. I learned a lot of this information from a friend of mine named Penny Pearl. Penny is a career strategist who helped me get a job earlier in my career. I'm not being compensated in any way to endorse Penny. I just think she's really good at what she does. And if you're looking for a career strategist, she might be a great person to speak with. The link is in the description if you want to learn more. Do you know how you would reach out to them or how you would go about asking for that?
I think, well, obviously not just asking for a job at all, but the way that I think that I would do it is how I did it in January, just asking for advice and the process, asking about how they test things and what informs the next thing that they want to build. I've always been kind of questioning their reasoning for coming out with certain products and justifying their existence. So I'd be really interested to hear about why they decided to launch certain things, why certain things just weren't, why things were discontinued, because they tend to retire products after a few years, as with any, anything else, just for the next best thing. So I'm really curious about the reasoning to do that and what drives those decisions.
That's a good approach. However, one thing to keep in mind is that people tend to go on the defensive if you ask them why they did something, because if you don't frame it the right way, it can seem accusational. So I would definitely not lead with that.
Okay.
A better way to lead would be to basically tell them what you like about their products and be very specific. And what this does is it shows that you're not looking for just any job.
Yeah.
You want to work at Leatherman. This is why, because you've done the research and you're passionate about this company.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's okay to ask those questions why, but it might not be good to lead with it, and it might be good to be very careful about the way that you ask it, because what can often happen is you might be soliciting advice that they never asked for. So it's just something to keep in mind.
No, that's a really good point. Part of my passion for multi-tools and knives comes with taking them apart and restoring them and putting them back together. I've always just appreciated how they can get so many features out of one stamped piece of metal, and kind of discovering just how that was engineered as I take it apart and look at it. I don't know all the answers to it, but I can see some of the rationality behind the design of one component part, and that's what really matters to me.
Okay, that's perfect. Just say that.
Okay.
Figure out how to keep it short. When you write these emails, you want to keep it short because, these are typically hiring managers. They don't have a lot of time. So what you want to do is you want to keep it snappy. Like just say like, hey, I'm Christopher. I like your products because what you just said. And, I'd love to speak with you and learn more about your company. And maybe potentially I could act as a resource for you. I'd just love to learn from you, though. That's the main thing.
Absolutely.
Basically, the components are introduction, why I'm reaching out to you and why I like your company, being very specific, and let's have a quick talk. And be specific about the time. Keep it short. Let's say 20 minutes or 15 minutes.
Yeah.
This is actually something I learned from a book called Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. Anytime you're scheduling a phone call with somebody or asking to speak with them, always ask if you can speak for a specific amount of time. If you just say a couple minutes, then they say, yeah, I have a couple minutes, but then they start to think of all the other things that they need to do in that particular day and time. But if you say in 10 minutes, it's like, all right, I know that this conversation is going to end after 10 minutes.
Great.
And that'll be the end of it, basically.
Yeah, for someone like me, that will definitely help a lot. Ask any of my classmates or my teachers. I tend to be rather long-winded in any response, especially about technical stuff. But that's really important, I think.
I think you've done pretty well so far in this little interview. Okay, so reach out to Immediate Network, then friends of friends. Ask for an intro at the companies that you really want to work for. In terms of how you can do that, you can ask your immediate network, like, hey, do you know anybody who works in this product category or this type of company, or somebody who works at Leatherman? You can also just look on LinkedIn and find the hiring managers and see if you're connected in any way to them, like the second degree connections. And then let's say you find a hiring manager at Leatherman, and you click on his profile or her profile and you see, okay, this person is connected to John. You would definitely want to reach out to me and say like, hey, what's your relationship with this hiring manager at Leatherman? Would you be comfortable making an intro for me? And I would say yes.
Cool.
Or no, maybe, but who knows? You can cold message people on LinkedIn. Most people will not respond. I respond. At least for now, I respond. It might get to a point where I just get too many messages.
Flood his inbox, everybody.
Yeah. I already get several messages a day. but I really, really try hard to respond just because I know how hard it is, and I try to offer my insight when I can.
Nice.
But, other people are busy, and that's totally understandable. Like, I don't have a child or anything. I'm married, but I don't have children, so that affords me a little bit of extra time. Other people might not have that luxury. The point of this is that, cold messaging is good, but it's sort of like a last resort. Mm-hmm. And it follows the exact same sort of principles, though.
Yeah.
You connect on LinkedIn or wherever else. You message them and express interest in speaking with them, and that's basically it. And then you ask to talk with them. So usually I'll send a message when I connect with them, and I'll add a little note that basically says, hey, I love the work you do at company X because of Y. So it's a specific thing. I'd love to connect. Are you open to connecting? Please don't copy this as exactly, because then it'll be super awkward, but just use it as a general template.
Yeah.
Okay? And then the next message I'll send is, hey, thanks for connecting with me. I'm a big fan of your work because of another reason, and I saw this thing that you did, and it was really cool because XYZ. I'm really interested in learning more about this. Mm-hmm. Are you open to a 15-minute call? And you could basically say, it depends on how you feel about it. You can test a couple different things. You could say maybe we could act as a resource for each other, but you really don't even need to say that. Yeah. And if you put an explicit time limit on it, like 15 minutes or 10 minutes or 20 minutes, that will give them it'll sort of put them at ease. So cool. That's what you do for cold leads, but you have to have the expectation that it's just not going to work out a lot of the time.
That's pretty much been my experience. So yeah, we'll see though.
When I was looking for a job in 2018, I utilized this strategy, and I think I reached out to about 50 hiring managers a week for a long time, probably over a month. But within 2 or 3 months, I had a job. Okay. So it works. Cool. It's just like a lot of effort, and it's not the most efficient way of doing things. Yeah. But if you need a job, it's something that you can try.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it just makes a lot of sense. Probably going to be a lot more grueling, but as a last resort and at least something to try, I think I'm definitely open to that.
Yeah, so it's just something to consider. You might as well start doing it now.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of maintaining the relationships, there's a couple things you can do. You can send them articles about their company where they probably helped work on it, and say hey, I saw this is really cool. You could send them other articles that might interest them. You can send them updates of your work. So send them posts. Don't spam them. Don't send them an update every week or something, but maybe every couple months. It's just about sort of keeping you top of mind.
Yeah.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty much it for networking.